This podcast is brought to you by Most Valuable Podcasts, saving your day from boredom with the best podcasting entertainment.
What's up, real MVPs, Ricky Widmer here, along with fellow man-child Johnny Karlic. And we are back for another edition of the Rick and Johnny podcast right here on Most Valuable Podcast, your one-stop shop for everything under the two nerdy suns. And we are back, Johnny, talking, I'll be completely honest, this kind of transition, I can't wait until we're done with the holiday break season, because it kind of feels like the whole world goes on stop for a little bit. I mean, even the government here in the U.S. just said, nope, we're going to stop for a little bit. And I can't wait until our movie news, our superhero news.
Yeah, we still have to pay taxes.
Just comes out. Yeah, we still have to do that. You know what's the funny thing about that? Well, not funny.
It is, but it isn't.
It's just humorous of the whole situation at this point, like that we're in this. But I saw that actually the IRS cannot give out, like,
you can't issue the back tax.
Yeah, they
checks.
can't give out money because the government shut down.
But you're still supposed to pay your IRS taxes.
All because of a wall. But that's not important. That's not why we're here. We're here to talk
Ricky,
about
all in all, it's just another brick in the wall.
Yeah, another brick in the wall. A little good old Pink Floyd there. But we're talking today some Avengers, basically Marvel DC for this entire show. Sometimes we talk Game of Thrones, sometimes Rick and Morty, but we're looking at Avengers, kind of, I'll say Avengers, Shazam, and then we're going to dive back into MCU, greater grand scheme of things, talking about who the next baddie could be. Before we jump into Avengers, I got to throw out there that make sure to help support us on patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast. We cannot do what we do each and every day, each and every week for you guys without the support of our patrons. Thank you guys so much. And for the low, low price of $1, you can get yourself an exclusive Patreon podcast from the MVP guys. But Johnny, let's jump into our first topic. And what we're talking about is Avengers Endgame. And the kind of topic that I had stems from a Screen Rant article where they had a theory. They had their staff writer, Cooper Hood, wrote an article about how Clint Barton, Hawkeye, Ronin, however you want to look at him, could be or will be the MVP of Avengers Endgame. And kind of their, just to kind of sum up what he's talking about, is there's a lot of stuff. First off, it comes from the fact of, they mentioned back to in the first Avengers movie where Clint even throws out there like, oh, I've got all these guys with superpowers around me, and I've just got a cloak and a bow. Kind of like downplaying what he is.
Age of Ultron, I think, is the one.
Age of Ultron, too, where it's like all these movies, he hasn't been put on the spotlight. And will this finally be the movie to put him on that spotlight? I want to ask you, how important do you think Clint is going to be in Avengers Endgame?
Here's the thing I'm thinking about Avengers Endgame is basically everyone we have left is the original Avengers. Everyone we had in the...
Except for, like, Ant-Man.
First, yeah. I mean, there's the little add-ins like Ant-Man, Rocket, Nebula. But really, who's really left is the original Avengers. Yeah. I mean, you also have, like, if we really want to keep going, it's Okoye, M'Baku. And
I watched Infinity War recently.
I did too.
And
it's on Netflix. Why not?
I think he got the worst of the Wakanda.
All his people.
Because he was the, like, really, they couldn't even keep, like, 2 of his people around?
No, just all of them.
He's the only one left from that tribe.
His tribe is all gone.
It's like, wow, you really got the short end of the stick on this one.
Yeah, he did. But yeah, I mean, basically, the main focus is all of our Avengers are still around. All the ones from the first Avengers movie are there. So my thought is it's less about, I mean, Clint might be, maybe they'll make him a pivotal role in it. My thought would be maybe because everyone's going to be back together, that's what's going to do it. It's everyone being together, because you had 2 separate fights before, just because Tony and Cap broke up the Avengers. So that's what, like, I think part of the big problem was in the first one, like, why they lost is you had 2 separate teams now. You know, Tony wouldn't call Cap.
You were divided.
Yeah, they were divided. Together we stand, divided we fall. Well, look what happened. So I think, like, yeah, Clint might play more of a pivotal role now. It looks like he's going through a lot of shit when we see it in the trailer.
Well, and that's a thing, too.
So his dynamic of being in the team might be very different now.
Like, we don't know, too, because all we've seen of him in the trailer is when Black Widow goes to find him. He throws off the hood, kind of cleans off his Ronin blade, and he is now Ronin. He is not Hawkeye at this point. Some of the theorists out there are starting to think that maybe what has happened is, this is the proposed thing that I have seen, is after Civil War, because it was mentioned in Infinity War, that he took a deal with the government, he's on his farm chilling with his family.
Yeah.
Then the snap happens, and his family disappears.
I think so.
And then at that point, he says, what the fuck is going on? And then, because I don't know if it's because of where he is and the whole thing of, like, Ronin and the Yakuza. I don't think it's him trying to avenge his family. It's basically, if so much time has gone by, which I'm assuming, because you got to think of how much time has gone by between
weeks or months.
Because you got to think about that because of the beginning of the trailer with Tony, where he says, our food's almost out.
I think it's weeks because I don't know.
They're already on the ship. Like, that couldn't have taken, like, minutes to get going. It's not movie time minutes. Like, hey, boom, now we're on the ship right away. He's probably been doing this to say, I got to clear my mind somehow. I got to... Basically, it's like when something tragic happens to someone and they just dive into their work. Yeah. That's what I think this is. And how long has he been doing this Ronin thing to where eventually, like, I've seen, you brought up a good point that I didn't think of.
Yeah.
What if he's the glue to bring the Avengers together? Of, like, when Tony meets Steve again, they're going to, I don't think it's just going to be like a, hey, we got to, like, this is, it could be like a, hey, shit's hit the fan, we got to put it against each other. The way they interact with each other, they're probably going to argue.
Yeah, a lot still.
And Clint might be the one to, like, step in and say, hey, basically, hey, fuck faces.
This isn't about you.
You guys didn't lose what I lost.
Yeah.
And kind of be that glue to, like, look at what your decisions are impacting more than just yourselves now.
You, like, both of you need to stop being selfish and put your opinions aside.
The other thing that I've seen is people, and I don't believe this one because I don't think the timeline serves right.
Yeah.
Is I saw somebody in a comment section throughout that, oh, what if he's going to be the one to convince Captain Marvel that, like, of what's going on and stuff, because from what that whole thing is Nick Fury, end of Infinity War, threw out the distress signal to Captain Marvel. When Captain Marvel gets here, she's not going to know anybody.
No.
She doesn't know Cap. She doesn't know Tony. She doesn't know any of the Avengers.
The only two she might know is she might know Clint.
Well, that's
possibly.
The theory is that she knows Clint because what if Clint was a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. or working with S.H.I.E.L.D. in the 90s. My question for you, though, does that timeline fit out with his age in the first Avengers? That's what I would say.
He would be a young recruit in the 90s then.
So he would be like in his 20s in the 90s.
He'd probably be in his 20s in the 90s.
So there's a possibility that he knows Captain Marvel.
He's in his 40s now. Mm-hmm. It's like 20 years later. So yeah, I'd say he could probably be in his 20s in the 90s, 18 to 20-something in the 90s.
Let's see. Jeremy Renner. I want to look up how old Jeremy Renner is right now. Yeah, Renner's 47.
Yeah.
So as of right now, he can't be.
If you're going off Renner's actual age.
Yeah, I don't think they would cast Hawkeye as like, hey, he's a 50-year-old. Let's get a 47-year-old actor to play
Exactly,
him.
no.
So I would say either late 30s, early 40s right now. Maybe pushing more the 40s side.
I'd say he's pushing like he's pushing more the 40s side, but then it leaves it to like, hey, he could have been around while Captain Marvel was around, or the show that he is or was part of S.H.I.E.L.D., blah, 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 whatever. I think it's either him, it's got to be him or a Widow, which, I mean, there's the whole Budapest thing, and I think that was...
I didn't even think about Black Widow.
Yeah, so it's one of the two, because they were the two bigger parts of S.H.I.E.L.D. Cap was just sort of S.H.I.E.L.D. Tony was never part of S.H.I.E.L.D. The other, and none of the rest of them were even part of Shield.
Yeah, no.
So-
And like Tony, I don't even think that. Really, I don't think that like his involvement with Shield wasn't anything because he wasn't in it.
Nothing
during Iron Man
significant.
1. Like, and for Jeremy Renner and Hawkeye, Ronan, Clint Barton, his whole
Well, it was, but it
character,
wasn't.
I think it'd be cool
Yeah.
if he was like what's the word I'm looking for? Pinnacle part of this story. Because
In that sense, yeah, that would be good.
because there's got to be a reason that they kept him out of Infinity War, right? It couldn't have just been because, him and Ant-Man. Like, Ant-Man was because, hey, we don't want to... The quantum realm, first off, we explained it in Ant-Man and the Wasp where he's stuck there. That's why he's not there. They think he's just on house arrest still. But really, I think if he was implemented into Infinity War, the quantum realm is such a useful tool that it would have lessened what Infinity War would be.
Exactly. It would have...
There has to be a reason why they kept Hawkeye out of Infinity War, not just the house arrest.
Well, like I think we talked about another podcast a little bit.
Probably, yeah. We have talked Avengers a lot.
We have. But I think we even mentioned maybe he's like sort of he made a deal to be under house arrest with them, but he also
whenever
like,
they come knocking,
hey, we need you to
call.
go infiltrate this. It's not necessarily like, hey, we need you to this guy, this, but it's like, hey, we need you to
spy.
Yeah, exactly. Espionage. Like you are now, when we call you, you do espionage. Otherwise, you're at home under house arrest.
I mean,
I think that would be I think that maybe that's the thing. So, but either way, I mean,
and that gives an excuse for why he's Ronin now. And it's just like he's doing it even more because his family
gone, snap, and
away.
all of a sudden.
Another
The
theory.
one thing that would make it worse, just to
Go ahead.
Real quick, so we don't like get off track. What would make it worse if he was sent on a mission and he comes back to just dust.
So he leaves and comes back and they're gone.
Yeah, as if like I wasn't here to protect them. That would instill a feeling like that, at least for a while. To worsen it for him. That's why, like, look at his eyes in the picture for the link you sent me. Like you can see there's distress.
There's pain in those eyes.
Exactly.
There's pain behind those eyes. Behind those, like, even they look kind of like glossed over in a sense.
Like he lost himself.
Because here's another thing I want to throw out there, and this doesn't necessarily deal just with Clint. It could deal with Steve. It could deal with a lot. The only reason this is on my mind is because I watched Infinity War recently. I'm probably going to watch it again, which first off, I want to ask you this question. Off topic a little bit.
Okay.
But, before I get back on topic, I had this thought watching Infinity War. It is not just a great superhero movie. It's a great movie, period.
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Because, like, I was watching it again going, wow, this is probably one of my top 3 movies of all time.
It's way up there, definitely.
Because, like,
so...
I finished it, and I had the same thought that I had after me and you saw it. I want to watch it again.
Yeah. I feel like watching it again. It's like, but the thing that I turned it on, I felt the same thing afterwards. Is like sort of a
the dust hits you.
It's
the
like
snapshire hits you like a ton
just
of
like the
bricks
first
still.
time I watched it. It was the same feeling when I watched that scene.
Because now you're focusing on other things. Like the thing that didn't impact me, what hit me harder this time was Black Panther's disappearance.
Oh yeah,
because he goes to maybe it's
no
because
place to die.
Also, I'll be honest, I listened to it with my new headphones on, so noise canceled
no
everything
interruptions.
out. No interruptions. And he goes and reaches and he says, "Here is no place to die." And he's gone. And the look on Okoye's face of like, what just happened? Like, pure shock.
Yeah.
The Spider-Man one still gets me, but that one was a little bit lessened. The thing, though, that I want to bring up is from Infinity War, Cap says it, Vision says it. I feel like they said it multiple times, and because of that, it's probably going to play dividends at the end when we end this 11-year saga. Cap says it to Vision at first, when Vision's like, just destroy it, don't care if I die. And Cap goes, we don't trade lives. Then Vision, when he stabs Black Order, throws him aside. He says, we don't trade lives. Is there going to be a point in Avengers Endgame where either A, maybe Clint Barton sacrifices his life and a character like Cap takes it harder because we don't trade lives? Or the one thing that I've seen someone threw out, Cap is going to put his life on the line, sacrifice himself and die in the end because he's going to think, we don't trade lives. I'm giving up my life. I'm not trading a life. I'm giving it up to save everybody else.
It's him or Tony.
You're still on the train. One of them is going to die.
One
in
of
this
them,
movie?
because I mean, the other thing is, it kind of stems from the first Avengers one when Cap yells, like, gets in Tony's face and says, "You or well, how do you put it?
Wasn't he basically saying, like, you're behind a suit? Like you're
behind a suit. You wouldn't put your life on the line for someone." And he's like, if the life was on a wire, and Tony goes like, I would just cut the wire. Snidely back to him. And it's like basically telling him, you wouldn't sacrifice yourself. You're doing this for you. You're not doing this for anyone else. I think Tony's made the 180 to where he's like, especially because...
Is it this one where Steve goes, big man in a suit of armor, take it off, and what are you? Tony then says, genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. Natasha shrugs condescendingly. Steve then goes, I know guys with nothing, with none of the worth, or I know guys with none of that worth 10 of you. I've seen the footage. The only thing that you really fight for is yourself. You're not the guy to make a sacrifice play, to lay down on the wire and let other guys crawl over you. Tony goes, I think I would just cut the wire. Steve goes, always a way out. You know you may not be a threat, but you'd better stop pretending to be a hero. Tony goes, a hero? Like you? You're a lab experiment, Rogers. Everything special about you came out of a bottle. Steve Rogers, put on the suit. Let's go a few rounds. That's the
line.
About, right?
That's exactly the argument I was talking about. And that's the one line is he tells Tony he wouldn't make the sacrifice play, and I would cut the wire. And that's what it's gonna come down to is one of the two of them is gonna make the sacrifice play now, because Tony's got it in his head that he can't watch everyone else die and not him. So Tony's gonna have that. But now this turnaround with Cap, like you're saying, we don't trade lives. Well, someone's going to probably have to give theirs up to make this happen, I feel like.
What if it is that? What if it's not Steve, where basically Iron Man is going to give up his life, and Steve goes, we don't trade lives. And Iron Man, let's be honest, Iron Man hadn't said that.
Yeah.
He's not thinking of that. Steve, that's another thing, too, of like when I saw, like, oh, Steve would give up his life, I'd be like, but why? Giving up his life would still be trading a life.
Yeah.
It'd be trading his life, even though that's in Steve's character, and Steve would give up his life to save $1 million. What if it is that, where Tony gives up his life, goes to give up his life, and Steve goes, we don't trade lives, and Tony's like, we have to do this. What if it's something where they go back in time?
Yeah.
Because there's going to be time travel in this. We're going to talk about it later in the podcast, but what if they go back in time and one of them needs to stay? And Tony goes, I'll do it.
Or what if they realize that it's only going to happen if one person, like, no matter what they do, one person, it's either one person dies or everyone dies. And Tony goes, I'm going to take it. And it's like, or Cap goes, we don't trade lives. It's like, there's nothing to trade.
Oh my God. You know what just hit me?
Huh?
You know what would make that even a more powerful moment? Think back to the beginning of Infinity War.
Yeah.
Him and Pepper, what they were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Could you imagine he puts his life on the line? They come back, our whole timeline is fixed. Pepper with child.
She's pregnant now.
She didn't think she was.
But she is.
That
would make the thing.
After he went off into space and she was like, no, Tony, come back. What if right after that she had found out you know what? Tony was right. I am pregnant.
Yeah.
I do have a kid on the way.
Maybe. The other thing I would bring up, I want to bring up is what if it's the time, like they go, like we're talking about, it's a time travel one to fix things. What if it's the moment? What if he decides it's the moment where Doctor Strange is about to give up the stone for him, for Tony's life?
Say that again.
When Doctor Strange gives up the time stone for Tony's life, what if he pops in and like time travel and fixes that? It's like, no, let me die. Do not give him the stone.
The only thing,
like that's where the sacrifice comes in.
The only reason I would say no to that is because the only reason Doctor Strange spared Tony's life
is
because after Tony said, "Why did you do that?" and he goes, "It's the only way." I believe if that, so that even adds another thing onto this. He can't go back to that point because if he stops that, he'll never have the opportunity to give up his life. What if it's a Doctor Strange looking into the future, knew this can only end if Tony gives up his life?
Maybe.
Tony needs to give up his life and have this revelation for us to be victorious. That does not happen if he goes to that time and stops Doctor Strange
that's true.
from making him live. That would just fuck everything up.
True. Paradox then.
Yeah, and I mean, this whole thing is going to have ripples of time. I also did a little Google search and found out that from the comics, only appeared in one comic, Tales of Suspense, number 68. Oh, never mind. He's not Tony's son. Morgan Stark is the brother of is the son of Edward Stark, the nephew of Howard Stark. So he's Tony's cousin. I thought that was going to tell me that Tony had a son because my first thought is in the comics, has Tony ever had a son?
Not that I know of.
Unless you like count Vision as his child.
You count that. I don't think he has. Not that I know of.
Because that would be something that would be weird. Is like if they had it. I think it would add a ton to it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you go that route. Because then you got to deal with said child. It's like The Walking Dead. Great, we've got this baby.
Yeah.
We've got this thing that makes noise in a show that has zombies or walkers that are attracted to noise, loud noises. So, I mean, I don't know if they throw in a Tony Stark kid unless they're planning on a future Iron Man down the line.
Probably not then, because they have like two other people that could take over. Because there's like I know in some comics I believe there's an Iron Kid, and that they kind of referenced that when he in Iron Man 3 with the kid there. They referenced it per se because he set him up nicely afterwards, almost like a protege, and not like a Spider-Man protege, more of a hey keep building kid type protege.
Yeah, I'm looking to see.
And then, I mean,
it doesn't help that when you type like Iron Man kid into Google, you just get Halloween costumes.
Yeah, usually.
Galore. So, I mean, yeah.
Just try Iron Kid. See that?
I did.
Okay.
Halloween costumes.
Oh,
galore.
God.
It does not help with how popular
Avengers is, yeah.
Any final thoughts on this before we move on into our next topic?
No, it's going to be interesting to see who plays what role in Avengers.
Yeah, and of course, some people are thinking that the next time we'll get a trailer is maybe February, maybe for the Super Bowl.
Nice.
We'll get a new trailer. I cannot wait to get some more kind of... See, here's the thing about this for this movie.
Yeah.
They want to keep it hush-hush, so I don't know if a new trailer is going to give us anything more.
Not much,
You know
if
what
anything.
I'm saying?
Like, the most I want to... there's so many questions, like, what is going on in everyone's head? Because you have, like, Thor.
What is Gamora? Who is Gamora?
Why is Gamora?
Why is Gamora?
Go.
There's a ton of questions, Johnny. Why is Gamora?
But, like...
Probably the hardest hitting one of them all is why is Gamora?
Why is Gamora?
Why is Gamora?
But like, what is going through Thor's head? What is going through Clint's head? What is what's going through everyone's mind? Like, at least like you can kind of see what's going on with Black Widow, Tony, and Cap.
Because Thor literally has not,
It was
like...
basically a screenshot of him in a cell. That's all we got out of the trailer.
First off, he watched Loki die at the hands of Thanos.
Yes.
Then when he got
Heimdall first, stabbed in the chest.
Heimdall first, Loki second. Then when he finally got the chance to kill Thanos, he didn't. He failed.
Yeah.
So he's got to deal with that now. So, like, there's a ton of things. Also, last question I'll ask you with this. Thanos on the farm.
Mm-hmm.
Is that in the Earth or in the Soul Stone? Because in the comics, him on the farm was in the Soul Stone.
On a planet.
So you think he's on a planet?
He's on a planet, yeah.
Okay. So you didn't think it was one of those?
It wasn't very orangey.
Because another theory is that when he went and saw Gamora, that was a dream that was in his head. It wasn't him in the Soul Stone. It was a dream. So he was thinking Soul Stone and then saw Gamora. And that him on the farm is really him in the Soul Stone because he made a deal with the stones because Red Skull said that the Soul Stone has a certain wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
People are thinking of this theory that he made a deal with the stone I will get you these souls if you give me what I want. And what he wanted was for his planet to be saved. His planet couldn't have been saved, and he didn't want civilization to be like his planet, or the entire universe to be like his planet.
Maybe. I don't know. My thought would be to just that was a flash into the Soul Stone because it takes up it's a high price to get the stone.
Yeah.
A soul for a soul. And maybe it's like sacrifice a soul. That soul goes into that gem just to basically power it up. Almost.
Yeah.
It needs a soul to power it up, basically, is my thought.
And Gamora is trapped in the
like
Soul Stone.
and to power it up for you to use. Like it can still be used, but it's like actually to obtain it, there's a soul now inside of it. You are allowed to have it.
Just how in like the comics it was Adam Warlock and Pip and stuff.
Yeah, and they were in the stone and Gamora.
And Gamora.
And they all
that's right. It was Gamora, Pip, and Warlock.
Yeah. So I mean, I think that's what's gonna be part of it.
Well, this is where you guys come in. Let us know what you guys think. I look at the camera, although we have gone over and I did not get up to turn on the new camera. So you're looking at our logo if you're on YouTube. But let us know what you guys think down below in the comment section about Cliff Barton, about Avengers. We always do this. Clint. Did I say Cliff?
Cliff Barton.
Clint Barton. His evil brother Clint.
No, his evil brother Cliff.
Did I say that? I'm screwing it up.
You said Cliff Barton.
Clint, evil brother Cliff.
There you go.
Let us know what you think about Clint Barton down below in that comment section.